Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health can come together. In today's video we are making a beautiful decorative ball or a orb or a sphere, whatever you want to call it, out of, wait for it, Dollar Tree Wooden Dominoes. I have tried for so long to figure out a project to do with these. One that doesn't involve decoupaging art or letters onto them. And I think I found it. And today I'm going to share that with you. It is very exciting, so stick around and let's go make some stuff and jump right into this. To begin with, I'm using the Dollar Tree Wooden Dominoes. These are made of wood with a sticker on one side and a smooth wood finish on the other. They're a little thinner than a popsicle stick, just a little bit. I glued 2 dominoes together using super glue. The 2 together make kind of a square shape, and I'm using a total of 24 of the dominoes to get 12 squares at about 3 inches each in diameter, and a couple of extra just in case, which is always a really good idea. I then cut out a 5-sided pentagon shape. Now you can Google a pentagon, save it, and size it to just under 3 inches at its widest point. Print that and cut it out. I also traced and cut my pentagon onto cardboard in order to make a more sturdy template. Now these are a little delicate, so you have to handle them with care when you're tracing and then when we're cutting. So taking your glued together dominoes, on the non-wood or the sticker side, we're going to trace the cardboard pentagon shape onto the dominoes. And a couple of these dominoes had the sticker part partially removed, and I did that for another project, but you don't have to remove the stickers since we're really only dealing with the wood side of the dominoes anyway for our purposes. So I'm going to trace the shape onto all 12 of our domino squares. Next comes the cutting, and you're going to need a strong pair of scissors to cut out all 12 of the pentagons. You could also probably do this with an X-Acto knife, but I used my scissors, and some of the pentagons were a little harder to cut out than others. And you also want to be super careful about how you handle these as you cut them, because if you use too much pressure, they could break apart, and then you would have to re-glue them, and it would just be a mess. So just handle with care and be very gentle when you're holding them and when you're cutting them. After all 12 of my pentagons are cut, I sanded the rough edges with this sanding block from Dollar Tree. I just sanded them until there are no jagged pieces sticking out, and just so that the sides on all 5 sides ended up looking smooth. Then I was ready to stain. I'm using Waverly Antique Wax to get a nice rich brown color, and obviously you want to stain the smooth wood side and not the back sticker side. It's important that you stain, when you're staining, that you make sure to get the stain onto all the edges of each pentagon. I'm using a foam brush to apply the stain, and then I'm using just a plain paper towel to wipe off excess stain. I'm going to stain all 12 pentagon cutouts, plus a few extra just in case, and we're going to allow them to fully dry. Am I the only person that always stains or paints a few extra pieces in every project? I'm just concerned with what if that happens? What if this happens? Let me know in the comments if you always have extra, like, just in case pieces ready to go, or is it just me? Now, here is where things got a little tricky for me. We're going to make a round ball with this, but there's a name for a spherical pentagon, and it's called a dodecahedron. Now, I think I'm saying that correctly. Let me know in the comments if any of you are like geometry whizzes out there, and if I'm butchering the name of this spherical pentagon. This is a template that I'm holding, and I will link it in the description below. It's not mine. I found it online, and it's a template on how to make a paper dodecahedron. Now this made it so much more complicated than it had to be, and you'll see later in the video that you do not have to use a model like this to create this sphere shape. But for the sake of me being fully transparent with you, this is how I began attaching this. So turning my pentagons right side down and turning the paper also right side down, I assembled the shape on the paper with my pentagons. I then took some painter's tape and used that to attach all the pentagons together in a way that they could all then come together into a sphere. Now what you're looking at is my shapes, but they're in reverse order of the paper that you're looking at because they're also reversed. They're like not upside down, but they're reversed with the back side facing up. I used a lot of painter's tape to work this out, and I realized that it would work, but the tape was going to be visible. So first I tried to trim some of that tape away so it wouldn't be as visible from the other side. But again, you do not have to do all of this to attach this together. Please feel free to learn from my mistakes. I took some of the extra pieces and I started gluing those together just to see how that would work. I was using hot glue at first, just working all the extra pieces together to see how they would fit, to see if they would stay. It was all very experimental. So turning my attention back to the sphere, I started to assemble it using the hot glue. And I still had all of the blue tape on there, but I was just trying to see again how this would all fit together. So I assembled and then I assembled some more until I could see how this was going to work and if it was going to work. The further along I got, the less strong the hot glue was, so I switched gears and I started using some Star Bond glue. I had never used it before, but I really liked it. It sets in about 30 seconds and the hold seems to be very strong. I also started to remove the blue tape on the inside as I was continuing to glue. And a couple of the pieces I had to glue and I had to re-glue. I also found it helpful to glue along the inside seams after gluing some of the pieces together. There was a lot of glue being used because it's not really that natural a shape and it needs a little help with the stability, I think. And I know this sounds really confusing, but the bottom line is it's simply a matter of attaching one piece at a time. The taping is not at all necessary, even though I showed you all of that. You really don't have to do that to assemble this. So after the whole dodecahedron was glued together, I realized that because the pentagons were not perfectly sized to begin with, there were these big gaps in all the seams. And I felt that it really took away from the look that I was going for. So naturally, when in doubt, just add a little jute twine to any situation. So I ultimately used some hot glue to glue a border of jute over every single seam to cover them up. Lastly, I used a little antique wax to paint one of my Dollar Tree candle holders. And I used this as a perfect little stand for my decorative ball. And this is how my decorative ball turned out. I think that this is truly unique looking. I can't really pinpoint a style, it's just really unique, and I think it can be displayed in multiple ways. I really love the wood tones and even all the imperfections. I think that all the imperfections add character to the piece. I have it on a pedestal, but I think it could be styled on a coffee table or even on a shelf, as well as a bowl, as you can see it here. That can be really pretty too, and it's just a different direction to go in. I happen to have it in my Jenga block bowl, which is another video linked at the end of this one if you would like to learn how to make that. This DIY looks super impressive, and again, it's not nearly as complicated as it may have seemed. It costs about $1 to make, and it will impress everyone that sees it. I hope you enjoyed this Medicated Housewife DIY, and if you'd like to see more DIYs, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.